Hi, I'm Andres Singer. I'm the General Manager for the World Orphan Drug Congress USA, and we're here at Terrapin's office in New York interviewing Chris Garabedian. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Chris Garabedian is a biopharma executive with over 25 years of industry experience and a proven track record of success, including leadership in two of the most successful biopharma companies over the last 20 years, Celgene and Gilead. As former CEO of Sarepta Therapeutics, Chris orchestrated a turnaround of a 30-year-old struggling company into a highly valued leader in genetic-based technology and rare disease drug development. He is currently chairman of Zontogeny, a biotechnology incubator where he serves as co-founder, investor, and advisor to several early-stage life sciences companies. As CEO of Sarepta from 2011 to 2015, Mr. Garabedian advanced the company's R&D pipeline from one drug in early clinical development to 6 drugs in mid to late-stage development, including a lead program in Duchenne muscular dystrophy that led to FDA approval under accelerated approval pathway in September 2016. Mr. Garabedian was nominated Best CEO of the Year in 2012 and was named one of the top 50 orphan drug thought leaders in 2014, while establishing a reputation as a strong patient advocate. He was featured in the acclaimed book, The Right to Try, published in 2016, where his interactions with the Duchenne muscular dystrophy patient community and his industry perspective on early access to drugs were detailed. Chris, so Sarepta has been on the front line of the rare disease business model in recent years as it relates to accelerated approval particularly. You originally decided to request a meeting with the FDA to discuss Sarepta's Duchenne muscular dystrophy drug back in 2012 based on 1-year data from a small phase 2 trial. Tell us, the drug finally received approval, right, as we all know, in September 2016. So tell us your perspective on what transpired over that 3.5-year period.
Sure. Well, to take you back to 2012, at that time, that was the year that PDUFA 5 was passed. And at that time, there was a lot of excitement around the idea of the FDA embracing accelerated approval for rare diseases. And Duchenne fit the classic definition of what they were describing in that legislation. So what we thought at the time was not something we thought was so audacious. We knew it was a small study, but it was a placebo-controlled, double-blind, randomized study that we rolled over into an open-label extension. And we felt that the data that we saw at a year was sufficient not to necessarily say we were going to file the NDA, but we were going to talk to the FDA and ask them about the feasibility of accelerated approval. So that began the process that ensued over the next several years as we got more and more long-term data. The data changes, evolves over time. But I think one important thing about that study that gave us some confidence to talk to the FDA is that when you do an open label study, you're actually looking for healthy patients. You don't want to enroll patients that are likely to progress rapidly. We did this as a placebo-controlled randomized study. And when you do that, you're actually doing the opposite. To show a treatment effect, you need to find patients who are likely to decline. So when we enrolled those patients and we saw the placebo group that had delayed treatment start to decline and the treated group was largely doing well, we thought that that was sufficient. And again, that pretty much held for the next several years. So that gave us the confidence to ask the question to the FDA. And then obviously there was a lot of back and forth about the strength of the data. It wasn't a curative approach. And I think that led to a lot of different opinions within the agency on whether or not this warranted an accelerated approval. But in the meantime, we started a much broader program where we did multiple prospective studies. We did placebo-controlled studies at the FDA's urging for the follow-on exons. We did studies in younger patients, older non-ambulatory patients, and a confirmatory study. And all of that was just listening to what the FDA wanted us to do, and then we pursued that. So I think at the end of the day, the data set warranted approval. I think we heard from not just Janet Woodcock, but Rob Califf said it was a science-based decision. Rich Moshinsky, the deputy director under Janet Woodcock, said it was a science-based decision. And while, of course, the patient community wanted this, and the advocates wanted this drug, at the end of the day, I think they made the right call, even if it wasn't the most robust data set that everybody was hoping it was.
If you want to hear more from Chris and other thought leaders in the orphan drug industry, make sure to join us on April 20th and 21st in Washington, D.C. at the World Orphan Drug Congress USA 2017. Thank you.